like rural cross looks. That looks.
I'm really happy with that. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Blake. This is Dean. He's in the middle of filming another episode right now, but today we're working on the fuel system for this car. It's a 1,000 horsepower fuel system. There's no way to sugarcoat that. There's no way around that. The car legitimately has 4 fuel pumps in it. Pumps 1, 2, and 3 are all off the, just like as soon as you turn the key on, just running all of the time. So pumps 1 and 2 are in the surge tank. Pump 3 is just the in-tank pump that pumps up to the surge tank, and then it just circulates around the whole time. Pump 4 is actually controlled by the ECU, so that when you absolutely put your foot through it and it needs all of that fuel and all of that power, then the ECU grounds pump 4 and will turn it on and off as appropriate. We have just been set up on the bench just here, and I'm just gonna wire up this little thing. This is a Bussman fuse relay box, so all of the relays will go into this side and all of the fuses will go into this side. This is such a nice bit of kit. Like, if anyone's into electronics out there, oh my god, this is just like a bit of porn. So I've made these up to make our lives easier, as well as fault finding. So this is a schematic diagram, and then this is obviously a wiring diagram of how it's actually going to be wired in the car. This gives you a pretty clear example of what's going on. So you've got your 12 volt switched wire coming in, feeds every single relay, and then every single relay is then ground to the negative terminal of the battery, except relay 5, which is our 4th pump, and that's grounded by the Haltech ECU there. This is then just the other post that is just all of the switches with the fuses. This is the actual heavy wire. So the way you look at that is this is such a nice thing. It's such a good product. These studs on the back here are 80 amp buzz bars. So each one of those is rated to 80 amps. And so you can use this as a negative terminal and a positive terminal, or you can just use it as 2 positives, and then you can ground it individually, which is what we're going to be doing. So this one is all of the relay coils inside of here, and then this bus will be the heavy gauge wire that actually feeds each individual fuel pump off this one here. So there'll be some decent sized wire on this one, and then this wire can be basically negligible. It'll probably be like 500 milliamps. It's got to hold in 5 of these relays, so it's got basically nothing running through it. So what I'm going to do now is just pin this whole thing out. We've got all of these like nice little, I think they're called a 260 tangless, a 280 tangless pin, and then it's got some nice little weatherproof adapters as well. We'll crimp all those down, push them all in, and then we'll go have a look at the boot, and then see how we're actually going to fit this thing up. So there's a lot of fiddling around to do here, but we'll get through it. Okay, so that little step there is all done now. So that was just the very first one. So what I've done is take all of the negatives and just bridge them off the relay coils. Obviously they're milliamps, they're negligible. They're like 90 milliamps each or something. So size of wire doesn't matter. And what we've done is these 4 here, the top 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which is pump 1, pump 2, pump 3, and the relay fan cooler. There's a cooler underneath the car, and it's got a tiny little fan that just draws in air really all the time. And the fan is like 6 amps. It's not even. It's like 3 amps. It's nothing. and it just comes on as soon as all of the other 3 relays come on. So it's just on all the time, always cooling. And then this last one, number 5 down here, it's got its own ground wire here, which will go to its own ground wire. And as you can see, relay 5 will be pump number 4, and that goes to the Haltech ECU, which then grounds it on its own accord depending on where the engine's doing and what it needs to be doing. So now what I'm going to do is make these bridges. These 4, these are the bridges from the fuse side to the load side, to the switch side of the relay. So these will have the full running current of that pump. So these need to be big wire. So this will be 4mm wire. 4mm wire is like good for like 30 odd amps, 33 amps, depending on the conditions that it's in and where it's installed and stuff like that. These pumps will be drawing big amps, massive amps. They're all Walbro 460s. So they're all going to be on 30 amp fuses, and they can all have 30 amp relays. So yeah, so the wire is definitely good for that because it's got a 30 amp fuse on it. So I'll go make up those now. It looks the exact same as this, except it'll be 4mm wire, and it's going to be tight to get them in there. So I don't know whether I'll be able to get those little weatherproof boots in there, but we'll see how we go. So what we've just done, you guys would have just seen, I've just done the load looping from the fuses to the, well, it would be the line side of the relay, I guess, if you want to talk electrically. But so it's really simple actually to do. If you are ever going to do this, I can't stress it enough, draw it out because it'll make your life so much easier. So all we've done there are these bridges here out of the fuse and into the relay. Now that's the schematic, but it's easier if you actually just look at a diagram. So I just blew up a picture of this, which is this busman relay, and it's just these 4mm bridges. So as you can see, 4mm bridges, bang, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of which are now sitting in here. So now what we can do, get our blade fuses as appropriately sized for the apparatus. So pumps 1, 2, 3, all 30 amps. Fan relay number 4 will be 10 amps because it will probably even 5 amps would do. And then pump number 5, same again, 30 amps. There's a bit going on in this. So these bus terminals down the side are actually good for 80 amps each, which is a lot. That is how much you have on a regular house. So this car is going to be fast, but I don't think it's going to have a fridge, a hot water system, maybe a couple of air conditioners in there, but it could, if it wanted to, it could do it. And this box could do that if it needed to do that.
Messing with my head again. You had your heart set on me, but these feels, they come and go, and they come so easily. Tell me what it is about you that I can't forget, but you're breaking down the walls again just to set me free. Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you are, will always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the time?
Alright, box is good to go. We put the fuses in there last night. It's a new day now, so what I've just done is obviously coming out of the load side off here where the actual pumps are, you are gonna have, they have to be, obviously the wire has to be suitable to carry the current that you need to carry. So it came with pre-terminated 2.5mm ferrules in it, but we need to be able to run a little bit more than that. 2.5mm probably would do it, but it's a bit of a stretch. And the last thing I need to be held accountable for is burning down my mate's $100,000 GTR. Probably more than $100,000. So I said, look, what we need to do is make up some 4mm leads. I don't know where these are gonna go in the car yet. They're gonna go in the boot somewhere. So what I've done is I've just terminated one end, like you guys just would have seen me do one. Is there? I've just terminated one end and then just left them 3 meters long as a fly lead so that they can go anywhere in the car from then on in. The fuel fan, I made one out of I've used 2.5mm for that because it's gonna be running like 3 amps, probably not even. So what we're gonna do now is plug these into the load side, if you wanna call it that, of the relay. But before we do that, I don't know whether this is overkill or whether this is just, if this is even done in automotive stuff. But I would like to put little ferrules like this. I've printed all of these out so they say fuel pump, pump 1, pump 2, pump 3, fuel fan, blah, blah, blah. And then they go inside of these little things. Yeah, little cable identifiers. And when they're done, you can see I've done these two here and they both say negative, negative, negative. So that if you ever turn the box around, you'll be able to see everything. And then we're gonna have the front labeled as well, but I'm already here and I'm already doing it, so why not do it? So. Okay, so our fly leads are made up and they're labeled and they're terminated and they look pretty good. Fuel fan, pump 4, pump 1, pump 3, 2. So that'll just sit there. So now we just click them into the associated terminals and then they will look mint.
Advantages then for electric gas across there, like the whole rural cross looks, that looks
I'm really happy with that. I'm very, very happy with that.
That's your trigger.
Yeah. So not just to blow my own horn here, but I've done a bloody good job. This is now the back of our box. This box is now fully wired as per that, and that obviously being the same thing. The only thing that's not wired is our bus. So I didn't really explain this earlier, but these are bus bars running up either side. So this bus bar, you can use them as a negative or a positive. I'm using them both as positives. So this bus bar will be the like the load wire for all of the actual heavy load work. So run probably a 16mm stud to this terminal, and then that feeds each one of these up here. So it feeds that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. They're all fed off that. That's why that stud is fed, is an 80 amp rated terminal. And then this stud is this side. So that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. So you just run a positive to both of those. This one will be switched off the 12 volt accessories that come from somewhere up the front of the car when you turn the keys on, and this one will be a hard active straight from the battery somewhere, more than likely a positive terminal somewhere like that. So we'll get to that when we get to that. Alright, so new day for us. We were going to tackle this last night, but we probably had a few too many beers to start worrying about a fuel system. Just going to have a quick look at it today. We haven't looked at the fuel system before. So this is Dean's existing setup, what was running the car when it was 550 kilowatts, I think it was. So it's all pretty loose, cowboyish. Not really, fit for purpose, I think is the correct term. Because one of the biggest things about this car is The version 1, before the car cracked the block and everything, this whole ordeal has started, everything has been about fine tuning the car to get it to where it needs to be. So this worked, and it worked great. There was no problems with the fuel system at all, but it probably could be done better. Are we the people to be doing it better? Probably not. There's probably heaps of people out there that could do it way better than us, and probably way better than me, and there's probably people watching this video going, that's the dumbest relay box I've ever seen in my life. It probably is, but I think it's better than what we already have. So this is the existing setup. There's a relay box down the back here. Don't mind all these wires laying about, which runs to this rat's nest of wires, which also runs to this isolator, which runs to this active positive link, which runs to this negative link. We're going to rerun all of those and neaten all of this up, basically delete everything that needs to be deleted and just keep what needs to be kept. The wires then come out down the relay box and more than likely will run under the carpet. And then they come out to this surge tank here. Now, this surge tank has pumps 1 and 2 on this terminal, pump 3 on this terminal, and then the in-tank pump is down under here, which is under a bit of spare carpet that he's got. So, how does this work? Pumps 1 and 2, always on, all of the time. The pump in the tank will be our pump number 3. This is pump number 3, and that is always on, so just continuously feeding this surge tank, filling it up, recirculating back into here. Pumps 1 and 2, always pumping out to the fuel rail, always supplying power no matter what. Pump 3, in this case, it's labeled pump 3. We've actually called it pump 4 in our wiring diagram. That's the pump controlled by the Haltech. So when it sees fit, the Haltech will turn this pump on via our relay, negatively switched. And then you've got 1,000 horsepower, basically. Runs through some nice speed flow, Teflon 200 series Teflon line. Runs through the Haltech Flex sensor, obviously. Dean made this up back in the day and kind of explained it to me just earlier. And I said, well, why have you gone around the Flex sensor there? That was because the Flex sensor was a -6 and everything is run in -8, 10, 8. Everything is run in -8. So he kind of saw it irrelevant to run only everything through -6. So what he did is he actually just paralleled it up, put a check valve here so that everything just runs through the Flex sensor all of the time. And the back pressure closes this check valve. And then if at some point the flow is maxing out the -6 fitting here, it will flow through this check valve. And then when you get off boost or whenever else, that valve will then close and it will all go through here again, and this check valve holds it shut. So that's that. It's a pretty neat little thing, and we're definitely going to jump into this head first. I've never done a system like this. I've never done a system as complex as this. I do have a little bit of an electrical knowledge and experience, but it's not with cars, and it's like I'd be much more comfortable playing with like a high voltage ring main than I would be playing with my mate's GTR. So on the next episode, we are going to delete all of this rat's nest and install our new box and wire it all up. So make sure you guys leave a comment, give us a like. Honestly, if there's something that we're doing differently and you guys want to jump in, let us know, because like I said, this isn't my jam and I've never done this before. We're just doing it the best we can. So I'm sure there's a wizard out there somewhere that is looking at us going, what are these dickheads doing? And well, I'm saying that to myself. So anyway, make sure you like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and we will see you on the next one. Bye!
Ever since you shut the door on everything we knew, you're too late for love, feeling your trip, love, feeling on love, feeling your trip, love.